Good afternoon. My name is Councillor Hannah Fleet and I'm the Chair of the Education and Skills Overview and Scrutiny Committee. Can I welcome everyone to today's meeting? This is a hybrid meeting. The meeting will be live streamed and recorded and will be available for viewing after the meeting. Should the live streaming fail, the meeting will continue and a recording will be available through the Council's website following the conclusion of the meeting. Can I remind members that translation facilities are available and for those attending on Zoom to choose your language of choice. For those wishing to speak in the chamber, please raise your hand. For those on Zoom, please use the raise hand function. We will alternate between speakers in the chamber and on Zoom. For those attending remotely, please note that those in the chamber will be unable to use the chat facility. If possible, Zoom attendees are required to leave their camera on at all times. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Darren Fay, who is our Youth Council representative, for his contribution to the committee. Darren has now stood down from the committee as he's attending university, and a new Youth Council representative will be sought in due course. If you're aware of anyone that might like to do this, please let us know. So moving on to the agenda, item 1. Apologies for absence.
Apologies have been received from councillors Carol Beard and Ros Griffiths-Williams, and also both co-opted members Colette Owen and Ros Harrison.
Thank you. Item 2, declaration of interest. Chair to remind members that they must declare the nature of their declared personal interests as well. Do we have any declarations of interest? Okay, we'll carry on then. Item 3, any urgent matters? Not aware of any. Item 4, minutes of the previous meetings. The minutes are here for accuracy only, not for debate. So this is to approve the minutes of the meeting held on the 19th of July 2022, which are pages 3 to 8 on in your pack. Do I have a proposer? Thank you, Councillor Frank. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Tristan. Thank you. So I confirm that the show of hands, please, for minutes to be approved. Thank you. And item 5, minutes of the school budget forum. To note the minutes of the school budget forum held on the 23rd of June 2022, which are pages 9 to 17 in your pack. Can I have a proposer, please? Thank you, Councillor Chris. And a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Joe. And can we have a show of hands there as well, please? Thank you. And 6A, the minutes of the agreed syllabus conference 30th of June 2022. To note the minutes of the agreed syllabus conference held on the 30th of June 2022, which are pages 18 to 20. Do I have a proposer, please? Thank you, Councillor Kay. And do I have a seconder? I've got Councillor Chris and Councillor Gwen all fighting for that one. Thank you. And a show of hands. Thank you. And 6B, minutes of the Conway Standing Advisory Council on Religious Education, 30th of June 2022, pages 21 to 28. Do I have a proposer? Councillor Chris, thank you. And I think that's Councillor Keith as a seconder there. Thank you. And a show of hands. Thank you very much. And item 7, questions to cabinet members. I'm not aware of any. Thank you. And item 8, to review the forward work programme, which is pages 29 to 74. Dawn Hughes, Scrutiny and Committee Services Officer, is going to present this item.
Thank you, Chair. So can I just advise you of a few changes to the forward work programme since it was last published? So the report on progress and benefits achieved within the Social Inclusion Service has been deferred until the November meeting. The school's admission policy has been brought forward to February 2023, as we do need approval by March 2023. And also the update from GWER on the 18th of October will include the role of the School Improvement Service, the work they've undertaken over the last year, as well as an update on the new curriculum. That's my update, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you have any questions? Councillor Frank. Could you put your mic on, please? Just
Sorry, Chair. Thank you, Chair. Chair, we used to have regular visits to primary and secondary schools in the School Effective and Standards Group. These to exist, as far as I'm aware, in July 2019. But I feel somebody like myself who's got an interest in children with brain injuries and learning needs thoroughly enjoyed visiting these schools to find that if there was enough finance for the extra teaching and learning of these children, plus how these children themselves were settling in. I just wonder, Chair, is it ever going to be resurrected, or how can we get an annual report if there's no meetings? Thank you.
Lowry has put some something in the chat to say that she will discuss this outside of the meeting with you, Councillor Frank. So like you say, they no longer exist, the school effectiveness groups. So can I suggest that you speak to Councillor to Lowry outside of the meeting?
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Frank. Do we have any other questions? I think
Chair.
we've got Councillor Julie there.
Yeah, thank you. Just to comment quickly on what Frank said there. Yeah, the School Effectiveness and Standards Group, I was a part of that as well for a long time. But I think we need to look at how that's done. It was really resource heavy. We had an officer dedicated to that who has since retired, and it took an awful lot of work. So I think I want to look at it, that it may be that I look at it, Frank, and I'll talk to you about it and talk to other members perhaps about, as a cabinet member, organising a trip to schools where we get the opportunity to visit certain schools, and especially I guess for newer members to have an understanding about the differences between our schools. Obviously, they're even in the primary section, you have some schools with hundreds of pupils, and then you have others that are small. You obviously have Welsh language schools. So I think it would be great for members to get that opportunity. But it's something that I'm going to work on, and Laurie and I have been in discussions around it. But conscious of how much work there is for officers, I think it would be better if it was a member-led thing. So I'll talk to you about it, Frank, and I'll speak to you, Hannah, as chair as well at some point, so that we can work out some kind of a plan. Conscious as well, obviously, that I don't want schools had to put a lot of work into it before. And obviously the parameters have changed considerably over time in the way that schools are measured. So I think it would be nicer, a more informal opportunity to visit some of our schools. But yeah, it is in hand. But I'll let you know once we kind of have progress. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you very much, Julie. Any other questions on the forward work programme? Okay, so are we happy to accept, or do I have a proposer to accept those changes? Thank you, Councillor Joe, and a seconder, Councillor Kay. Thank you very much. So show of hands, please. Thank you, so that's accepted. So item 9A is the consultation on the relocation of the foundation phase behaviour resource provision. And we have Hannah Morris, who's on on Zoom there, who is going to be presenting this item. She's the Social Inclusion Service Manager. It's pages 75 to 99. Thank you, Hannah.
Nanda. Yes, the paper I wanted to present this afternoon is in relation to permission to consult for the relocation of our foundation phase behaviour resource base to a permanent location of Canolfan Addysg Conwy, Pwyllgor, which is our Key Stage 2, currently our Key Stage 2 PRU pupil referral unit provision in Conwy. The reason for the consultation and the reason to move the resource has come about following receiving notice from the Sgiliau Dyffryn in relation to the ongoing ability to be able to house that resource on their site there. So the resource to date has been housed on a Sgiliau Dyffryn's site, which is a mainstream school primary. However, due to the expansion of other resources on that site for ALN, they were no longer able to accommodate the behaviour resource. The Canolfan Addysg Conwy has taken this opportunity to be able to align the resource, and that's very much where we seek to consult, so that all behaviour provision then for the local authority would sit under Canolfan Addysg Conwy. For those of you that aren't aware, Canolfan Addysg Conway is the local authority pupil referral unit provision for young people and children with social, emotional, behavioural difficulties, be that more inward mental health, EBD issues, or more outward physical violent behaviours. So the proposal, therefore, would be that the foundation phase would join the Canolfan Addysg Conway family in terms of that provision. It would mean that the provision is aligned with the resources, the techniques and skills that currently go on for Key Stage 2, 3 and 4 under the provision. And that it would sit within that portfolio, so there's aligned practice. It's important that we consider as part of the consultation, not only the community around us, but the parents and public, and very much the views of the learners and the children that are accessing. The provision this year has been temporarily located to Canolfan Addysg Conway, a dry gore, because we wished for the provision to continue rather than have a break in provision, as there were learners currently accessed at the close of last academic year. The provision itself accommodates up to 7 learners akin to our PRU classes. So it's a one single class provision that has access for young children in the foundation phase who display very challenging behaviours that have that, following a series of support from the outreach team and the local authority and adaptation within that school setting, still require an additional placement. As I'm sure members can appreciate, following the pandemic, there's been obviously heavy use of all our ALP resource and our additional learning provision in Conway, and this resource is not exempt from that. So therefore, we would like to seek permission to consult for the permanent location with ourselves in Canolfan Addysg Conway in Key Stage 2, so that we can continue to offer this provision to foundation phase learners in Conway. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Hannah. Do we have any questions for Hannah? Councillor Kay.
Thank you. Is 7 places enough? Do we need more than that? Looking at the amount of referrals we have at the moment, do you feel that 7 is enough?
I'd always say yes to more, Councillor Kay. But I think in terms of our numbers, what we've seen in previous years is we've used the resource base at a placement of 7 and haven't had a full in turn of 7. So we've had outreach to the school as part of that, using those specialist skills. As a result of the pandemic last year, we were at a 7 at full throughout the pandemic as we reached that back. I think 7 for that age group is where I'd feel comfortable looking at, because of course we don't want a large number of learners exiting foundation phase in those very early days. It is very much, I guess, akin to our PRU provision, a moment of reflection, isn't it, as we come out the wake of the pandemic with the rising in behavioural needs. And I think this academic year coming will start to track back down as to where the provision is going to lie and the number going forward. But certainly for previous years, 7 places has been sufficient to sort the local authorities' needs.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you very much, Hannah. I can't see any other questions coming up. So we have a recommendation, and the recommendation is 2.1, the Education and Skills Overview and Scrutiny Committee review the report and make a recommendation to Cabinet for permission to consult to be granted in accordance with the School Organisation Code. We have a second recommendation, 2.2, that in granting permission to consult in 2.1, members in addition approve the appended consultation document and response form, that's Appendix A, to be published on the Council's website. So do I have a proposer for those recommendations? Thank you, Councillor Chris. And do I have a seconder? I can see Councillor Tony putting his hand up there, so I'll pick somebody off Zoom in case they're feeling left out up there. So quite a few people happy to propose and second. Could we take a vote, please? Right, I think that's everybody. Thank you very much for that. Well, that brings to the end this rather wonderful meeting. And I'm very pleased that we're all quite happy. And I do think that it's gone very well so far, that using the new site. So from what I've heard, it's been quite a positive start. So hopefully the consultation will come up with exactly what we're looking for. Thank you very much for attending today, and we'll see you again on the 18th, because we've got 2 this month, because we've had to push one forwards, haven't we? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.